This video is intended only for mature audiences. Viewer discretion is advised. I'm a third-generation German immigrant. My grandmother came here from Germany when she was 14, married my grandfather, and had my mom, who had me and my brother. Our family is a lot like any other, except around one particular time of year. Every Christmas, my grandmother tells us, in her broken English, the story of Krampus. Krampus, according to her story, is the anti-Santa. If you were evil, she always said evil, never naughty or bad, he would come for you. And if he got you, then you would never be seen again. She never fully explained what Krampus was exactly. I looked pictures up online and saw that Krampus movie a few years ago, but she said the media was horribly inaccurate. Until last Christmas, I thought that Krampus was nothing more than something German parents told their kids to get them to behave. We had all planned to spend the night at my house. It would just be me, my brother, his boyfriend, my grandmother, mom, and her new boyfriend, Derek. In theory, it would be a nice Hallmark-style Christmas. Derek made sure it was anything but that. The first thing he did when he came in was complain that the house was too hot and turn the thermostat way down. It was snowing outside. The next thing he did was look at the Christmas dinner I'd made and told me he didn't eat gluten, and then opened the fridge and grabbed a beer. Then he made himself comfortable in my favorite chair, saw my brother Andy and Will, his boyfriend, making out on the couch, and called them a 6-letter word that starts with an F. That set the tone for the evening. Quite the charmer, eh? As if that wasn't enough, after he and Mom had gone up to their guest room, we heard him yelling, followed by Mom sobbing. Will, bless his heart, went up to see what was wrong. We heard Derek call him a very unoriginal insult. When he came back down, he said Mom had angry red bruises all over her, and that she said she was fine. My grandmother, for the first time that evening, started to speak. She stared at the fireplace, muttering in German. I couldn't tell what she was saying. My German isn't great, but I heard the words take, evil, and Krampus. I assumed that she was just telling us the Krampus story again, but had forgotten to translate it into English. This didn't surprise me. She was in her late 80s by then, and it didn't always seem like she was all there. When she finished speaking, we all went up to bed. It was exactly midnight when I heard the crash. I hadn't been able to sleep, worried about Mom, and had been scrolling through Reddit. When I heard it, I threw my robe and slippers on, and had gone 3 steps towards Mom's room when I realized that the crash came from the living room. Krampus, I jokingly thought, despite my unease. I went downstairs and gasped. The safety grate in front of the fireplace had been ripped aside, and soot from the chimney coated everything, branching out in all directions. Before I could even think of what to do, someone came behind me and roughly grabbed my shoulder. It was Derek.
What did you do, you stupid?
He then started a tirade of insults to me, to Mom, and to women in general. When I opened my mouth to try and defend myself, he slapped me and kept talking. It was while I was rubbing my cheek that I saw it. My grandmother was right. The media can't do him justice. The horns were right, but that was about it. He was at least 7 feet tall, maybe 8. His eyes glowed red, and he had sharp, predatory teeth barred into a psychotic smile. He grabbed Derek from the back of his robe, then shoved and pinned me against the wall. I would have screamed, but his thumb pressed into my throat, making it hard to breathe. I shot a glance at Derek and saw that he had received similar treatment. Krampus stared into my eyes. I wanted to look away, but I physically couldn't. It was like he was staring into my soul, seeing every good and bad thing I'd ever done. I felt naked, exposed, victimized, but I couldn't look away.
Lion.
That was all he said to me. His voice was nightmarish. He dropped me, letting my body slide to the floor. I started taking deep, raspy breaths, still watching the scene in front of me. Derek was subjected to Krampus scrutiny. From the sweat breaking out on his forehead, he didn't like it any more than I did.
Ja.
He pulled something from off his back, a burlap sack. Derek looked into it and tried to scream. I only caught a glimpse, but we both saw the inside of the sack. It was full of human bones. Krampus's grin grew wider, and Derek was thrown headfirst inside. The Christmas monster then made his way back towards the fireplace, Derek struggling from inside the sack. He reached into a tiny bag on his side and pulled out a handful of snow-like dust, which he threw on the floor. In the blink of an eye, the soot was gone.
For the she wanted to.
He snapped his fingers, and I was out like a light. The following morning was considerably happier than the night before. No one realized Derek was missing. His clothes, his presents, even Mom's bruises were gone. It was like he never existed. I never mentioned what I'd seen. I don't think anyone would believe me. Well, except one person. My grandmother is coming for Christmas again this year, and is insisting on telling Andy and Will's new daughter the story of Krampus.